You're listening to the Weekend Game Plan with Matthew Ross. Brought to you by Royal Ceramic, the consumer and contractor destination for incredible tile selection and much more. Visit royalceramic.com. The Weekend Game Plan on TSN 690.
Welcome back. Weekend Game Plan on TSN 690, just ahead of Habs breakfast. Our question of the day, 11690 is the text box. What's different about the Habs now versus their hot start? A great listen on a cold Saturday morning. That's from Jim in Ottawa. Thanks for listening, Jim, on the iHeart Radio app. Good morning. When the Habs were dominant, they had puck pursuit and sharp passing while in motion that allowed them to transition quickly. Now they are on their heels and passing has been lackluster. That's from Lee in St. Ours. Is that a place? That's a real place?
It's a place.
Oh, okay. Learn something every day, Dave. From Frank, nothing's changed from last year. I hear the same excuses as last year. They're not that good. And from Dan in Kingston, hey guys, how about Deneau and Mete for Mantha? Thoughts? I love Mantha. He's an underachiever right now. He reminds me of Eric Daze. You remember him with the Blackhawks? But he's a winger. Habs don't need wingers. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. It is Weekend Game Plan. Let's get to Mark.
Weekend Game Plan gets out into the community with Suburban Newspaper sports editor Mark Lidbetter and the Amateur Sports Report.
Sports at thesuburban.com to get in touch with Mark if you have an item for this weekly segment. All right, Mark, let us start with money.
Yeah, and I have to give props to Saputo as they continued their annual student-athlete bursary program through the Quebec Foundation for Athletic Excellence. And even in these financially difficult times, Saputo gave out $130,000 in scholarship to 47 recipients, where local athletes figured prominently in the Zoom ceremony they held. Now, Laval had 5 youths honored. There was a quartet of soccer players, Abdul Walid Benade, Matthew Caravallo, Audrey Chelsea Francois, and William Vecina. And the 5th Laval recipient was artistic gymnast Felix Dolce, who has his eyes focused on the Tokyo Olympic Games. Now, NDG had a pair of athletes with soccer standout Magali Gagne and Louis Krieber-Gagnon, whose discipline is judo, taking part, along with St. Laurent's Mathis Rainville, a wrestler, and up-and-coming tennis player Jaden Weeks of LaSalle. Now, from the West Island, Dollard's Mika Maroli and Pierrefonds Christina Salama, both soccer players, along with Ilbazard's Ileana Rubening, who competes in badminton, were all recognized at the event. Great on Saputo for continuing this tradition.
Weekend Game Plan here on TSN 690 with the Amateur Sports Report. All right, on to some curling.
Yeah, and when the Scotties Tournament of Hearts launches this coming Friday in Calgary, Team St. George out of the Glenmore Curling Club will represent Quebec, and the team of Laurie St. George, Haley Armstrong, Emily Riley, Cynthia St. George, Florence Boivin, along with their coach, Michelle St. George, will compete in Pool B play. And this is the first experience for the entire team at the National Women's Championship. But all of the players, we've talked about them in the past, they bring lots of experience at the national level, having competed at the U21 and U18 levels and in the mixed category tournament. So good luck to them when they hit the ice next week.
All right, sticking on the ice.
Yeah, and this is a little bit different because at the age of 19, Maxime Bedard made the difficult decision to stop playing hockey and devote his efforts towards full-time officiating. Now, a mere 4 years later, the choice has paid off for the former Quebec Junior AAA Hockey League player as he worked his first American Hockey League game last night in the Senators-Rockets season opener. Now, Bedard came out of the Lac St. Louis region where he began to ref in the Lachine Minor hockey program in 2013. His skills were noted, and he advanced rapidly from local to region to provincial staff, working as a linesman in all the top leagues, even in his former QJ AAA HL league. Now, he's been a regular in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League since last year, and he was poised to make his AHL debut last year in a Laval Rocket match on March 13th, 2020. But when COVID happened, that was put on the back burner. Now, the silver lining is Bedard is that the AHL offered him a full-time contract for this season, and he's going to work throughout the Canadian division this campaign. So the former defenseman will still continue to work in leagues here in the province when he can, so he can share his experience with the other officials. And the next phase of his career awaits, where he would love to join the NHL staff. So going from player to reffing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, great stuff there. sportsatthesuburban.com is the email address if you want to get in touch with Mark for the weekly segment or for the weekly newspaper. All right, coming up next here on Weekend Game Plan, it's Habs Breakfast. John Liu of TSN speaks about the controversial remarks of Réjean Tremblay this week that he took offense to. We'll also tackle Habs versus Leafs, which is live tonight on TSN 690, and our continued look at our question of the day: what's different between the Habs now and earlier in the season? From Jerome in St. John's, Newfoundland, in the 11690 text box: teams know their style of play. Julien has to readjust. Also, closer games means more important face-offs, which the Habs are dismal at. They need to make a trade for a better face-off man. Yes, I've been saying that since before the season. Thank you so much, Jerome, for weighing in the 11690 text box at Matthew Words or at Dave Trentadue on Twitter. Coming up, Habs Breakfast. Can the Canadians get a little bit of revenge on the Leafs?